going to ask a very difficult one. October 7th.
Yeah.
When the horrible massacre happened in Israel.
Yeah.
Where young children were murdered, burned, babies in ovens.
That didn't happen. There were no babies in ovens.
Oh, yes, they were.
No, there weren't. That's been refuted even by the Israelis.
There were.
No, there weren't.
There were.
There were no babies in ovens. No, I'm telling you, there's been no evidence of mass deliberate rapes. No such evidence.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. There's no such evidence.
Oh yes, of course there was.
No, there isn't.
There
no,
was
I'm
a
sorry.
woman in...
On the specific issues of babies in ovens and mass rapes, you and I are not going to agree, because I looked at evidence that you haven't looked at. I've been to Palestine. 2.5 years ago, I went there to work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails, which has been documented by Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, by B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, by United Nations and others. Nobody ever talks about the thousands of Palestinians. Did you know that 2 Palestinian doctors were tortured to death recently by Israel? Doctors tortured to death. History did not begin on October the 7th. And here's what I know. Do you think the average Jew knows anything about the indigenous people of Palestine? No, just a second. So, these animals that you talk about, you know, the first massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. But just let me just a second. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us.